Koi, hello, Finsbury Park. That's where we're at, mate. Share this out, please. Hey, Jenny. Yeah, Manor House, mate. Rob. Share it out, please, guys, yeah? Not many here at the moment, to be honest. Hope you're all well. Thanks for joining. Please share, guys. Give it a like. I don't know what the plan is here today. What their plan is. Sorry about the road noise as well, we're right on the main junction. Jamie, hello, welcome along. Please share this out, guys, yeah? I think this is going to be a bit of a quiet one, to be honest. Unite. Don't forget to share this out, please, people. Sorry? No, you're alright.
No, I was just asking whether you photographed for the media or you're reporting on it or...
Oh, it's going live over YouTube.
It's going over YouTube?
Yeah, live. So, I usually get a bit of a following
Yeah.
of these sort of things, but it's quite quiet here today. It looks like I'm the only one streaming from up here, from what I know of. Keep sharing it out, guys, please.
Anyway, don't worry. I will rate it 100 pounds.
Thank you, Paul. For sharing it. Don't forget, please share this out. Better watch the audio. If the audio goes off sometimes, guys, bear with me because I have to mute. So, certain reasons. Good, Jenny. We're good. Just wish there was more public toilets nearby. Something interesting over there. There you go. There's a nice McLaren over there in the background. Share this out. Looks like I'm the only one up here streaming anyway. No worries, cheers Jenny. If everyone else could share this out. Like I say, sometimes I have to mute the audio. Yeah, we might get a few in later. You never know. Getting quite a few more people here now. Captain, welcome along. Yeah, I know what you mean, Captain. Hello, local. Welcome. Keep sharing this out, please, guys.
This guy in the green shirt. Yeah, yeah.
Quite a few more people here now.
Yeah, that's in there.
Don't forget to share it out.
Encourage everyone to maintain social distancing. Make sure you've got a mask. If you haven't got a mask, you've got the plug here also. I saw one thing
I remember it coming out.
From everyone online, the police are very concerned with public health.
Nice one, guys. Keep sharing it out, please. Get some more viewers up. Don't forget to like it. More viewers from YouTube that way. pretty quiet and peaceful at the moment.
Hi everybody, thanks for turning out today. It's such short notice. Got a little band down here, so one of the paths around the corner for starting the movement. So if you want to come to the speech, we've been doing this right here. Everyone hopefully knows, tomorrow across the UK, there's a day of action against the police and crime bill. Hopefully also, as everybody that should know, and they marched Northside Round Police Station. And it was totally peaceful. And the police were overwhelmed. And because of that, the police decided to attack a peaceful demonstration. And then of course the police
Keep sharing it out. Hello, Daz.
Talking about how they were attacked. And the police officers were seriously injured. And had broken bones. But it was not until the next day opposite of rolling out a massive Green New Deal. That's what humanity needs. The Tories are doing the opposite. They're even talking about opening another poll. About climate change. They're not going to do anything. That's why it's down to people like Excel to organise resistance, to force change in this country. That's another reason why they want the police and crime bill on the statutes. And it's a bill that says that we can't make any noise. There's a police officer says that having a noisy protest, we can't have a protest. That's why we have megaphone. That's why we have chanting. There is no law in time that means that any policeman can shut down any demonstration that they don't like. What's the madness taking on the travellers again? And to see people who can probably remember the Battle of the Beanfield. They can probably remember the Criminal Justice Bill that became an act. And in that legislation, they had the words repetitive music, and they made it illegal to listen to repetitive music in a warehouse. Well, they made it illegal for people to travel around the country in their own vehicles, and it's smashed up. The people in the Beanfield in the southeast of England, I know exactly where I was now, were 1,500 police surrounding men, women, and children in the Beanfield who had the audacity to organise free festivals near Stonehenge. There was no crime, it just didn't fit in with their idea of what family life is meant to be, their idea of what civilised life is meant to be. There's a damn control, you get a truncheon over your head. That's what they did in the Criminal Justice Bill that became an act family. And then it turned to be even worse with this crime police and crime bill. That's why we say kill that bill, kill that bill,
Keep sharing it out, please. Wyatt, hello.
Only yesterday I was talking to my students talking about their experience at school, the racism that they suffered, about their hair, about their culture, about their and yet on Wednesday, 10 minutes after it stopped, at City Country Catholic School, students stayed at City Country. Not only was there a Union Jack lying above their school, but also the school informed of racist uniform policy where they banned colourful hijabs and afro hairstyles. The afro hairstyle, the reason being apparently because you can't see if you're 6 feet high, you can't see it tall. Well, I tell you what, if you're over 6 foot tall, you shouldn't go to school. Well, the students had enough. They weren't going to do the teacher was forced to overturn this racist uniform policy. The Union Jack has taken down. The students have taken the Union Jack and banned it. They just banned it intimidating. What does the Union Jack mean for the students to go to school? It's been absolutely amazing. And not only this, that afternoon, teachers have voted a no confidence in teachers to show the confidence of the students in the confidence of teachers to say no. But the thing is, this protest is worse. There's huge victories for our side. That when you have black and white unity, you fight to build a type of democratic right, you fight for justice, build a
When are you talking?
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me? Victory Park! I am here from a trade union, Unite the Union. And I am a woman. And I am an activist. And I don't want to be worried when I come out to just speak, use my voice, that I will be stripped naked practically for the world to see, for doing nothing but raising my voice. Our streets
about stopping protests. Just to continue where people have left off, and what other people are thinking of something to say, come up if you want to say something, speak out, by all means come and say your piece. And to remind Tony Sewell, I've got to get it off my chest, it makes me so angry. Gene Wilson was saying a bit earlier, some of the stats about the level of institutional racism in this country. The fact that the Windrush scandal only has 2 mentions in passing in the 258-page report. Why do they ignore Windrush? Because it's an example of gross institutional racism. It is the definition of institutional racism. That they allow people born in this country or lived in this country for decades to be deported to places they knew nothing about. People that went on holiday to Jamaica and other islands who were refused re-entry to this country. People that had to prove that they actually lived in this country legally, but they had to come up with documents like payslips from 1970. Who keeps their payslips from 1970? Last month, if you've got a payslip, you still have a job in Tory Britain. That is the level of the institutional racism. And one of the most staggering things, I think there's a documentary out on about it very soon, is the fact that in this country, if you're a black woman, you are 5 times more likely to die in childbirth. What?
Yep.
And how do we explain that? Are we making it up, Tony Sewell? Are we making it up, Tory Party? No, we're not. And I said there's little views. People are absolutely livid with this cover-up of a report that tries to deny that racism exists. That's why we're here partly today. Today to see the banners of Black Lives Matter being held by black and white people. And all of these issues are interlinked. Sarah Everard is the granddaughter of a Jamaican woman. We don't talk about that in the media. We don't like to show the real connections that we're all ultimately related to how stupid racism is. But it is a reality, it is totally intersectional in the sense that race and class go together. But in that duplicitous report from Sewell, he tries to pit class against race. But actually the 2 things are part and parcel of the same thing. And what a cheat by this Tory government to pretend that they care about working class people. What a lie! It is a big lie! The Tory Party is based on the idea that only a few can succeed, but the others who are poor because they're stupid. That is the Tory idea. That is the essence of Toryism. Tony Sewell is a Tory. That's why for him, if there's some people that can do well in the education system, it means that the others are the stupid. Nothing to do with the system. Nothing to do with the way you're taught. Nothing to do with what you're taught. When I went to school in the 1970s, there was not a single black person anywhere in the curriculum unless you wanted to talk about slavery and the British Empire. No wonder black kids still have got no home for them in the education system. But it's still like that fundamentally. Despite all the good work being done by anti-racist teachers, the teachers' union, with no help for the proper society. That's why the rebellion already mentioned by the students of Pimlico Academy is so inspiring. But young people do that all over the country, black and white together. I remember in the summer talking to white kids, talking about how when they went back to school, but they're going to be organising to decolonise the curriculum. Those battles are still going on, and they're spreading, and the anger at the Tony Sewell report is going to bring them closer to fruition. So I'm going on for next, I haven't been told who's speaking next. I'll Phil is speaking next. Right, okay, Phil. And before we do that, who's street? Our street! 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 I'm here to bring solidarity from all workers in the RMT on London Underground, from cleaners, train ops, engineers and station staff. And here we are, over a year into COVID. And through all that time, what the government tried to do during COVID, they tried to envisage these thoughts that we're all in it together. But the truth is, we're not all in it together, and we never have been all in it together. When you try to envisage these thoughts of the spirit of the Blitz, remember these images of working class people hiding in the London Underground tunnels from the Blitz, that was actually against the law. It was illegal to hide in underground tunnels, and it was only people protesting and direct action that changed that. Under this bill, then protests would be illegal. Remember, it was only not long ago, it was International Women's Day. And the way the government and the capitalists try to press that off now is something like an International Women's Day, buy something nice for a woman. But do you hide the true history of International Women's Day? It's actually from strikes in the garment industry in New York, where women were made to do hands. It was women in Russia walking from factory to factory that started the Russian Revolution. You don't tell us this. And under this bill, any protest like that will be against the law. You don't tell us the first woman elected to Parliament was an Irish Republican, Sinn Féin MP. You don't tell us this. They had history. Remember, we must still be fighting for LGBT rights if it was not for the right to protest. There's not one politician from a mainstream party in this land that will say anything bad about Martin Luther King, because in his death he tried to get rid of how dangerous he was by making him a saint. But Martin Luther King organised the March on Washington. 300,000 people marching against racism, and this bill will make anything like that against the law. And the truth is that nothing that has genuinely changed society for working class people has come through Parliament. It has all come through protest and direct action. That is why they want to stop the right to protest. And we will end, comrades, we will end. Because they've already told us that they want to change the rights to strike, and we will have to, as train workers and rail workers, even when we go on strike, supply a minimum amount of transport to get people to work. That is something we can never do. We cannot ban the right to strike, and if they get away with this bill, no doubt about it, they will try and ban the right to picket. Absolutely guaranteed. And I'll tell you what, comrades, I've just spoke about loads of things historically, but think about our lifetime. Think about the Birmingham 6, the Guildford 4, Hillsborough, Orgrave, Shrewsbury, the Blacklist, and more recently, undercover police, looking at female activists, form relationships with them, having children with them, while they were undercover working, and then disappearing from their lives so they can spy on trade unionists. It's absolutely right that we protest all those things, and we do it without the fear of arrest, because the only people that should be arrested are the people responsible for their crimes. And that, most of the time, amounts to the state, and it amounts to those people that are the armed militia of the state, and that is the police. That is their role. So we must fight this bill as working class people, because protest, as I say, is the only thing that ever wins gains. Solidarity.
Hi, my name's Jo. I'm come here today from Islington Unison with the local government trade union branch, and we come here today to bring massive solidarity to every single one of There's a trial taking place right now in the United States.
Yeah, I have.
But it's the trial of Derek Chauvin. It's always called the trial of George Floyd. George Floyd is not on trial. Derek Chauvin is on trial. The police are on trial. Racism is on trial. And we have to back Black Lives Matter. As a trade unionist today, I stand here because for the last 10 years, we have been battered by austerity. Austerity that 10 years ago we were told was an economic necessity. We always knew it was a political choice. They chose to cut our services, to line the pockets of the rich, to store their money in offshore tax havens and keep the money away from working class people. We saw during the corona crisis, the money is there. But I'll tell you what's going to happen next. They're going to try and make us pay. They're going to try and make us pay for every single thing we've had for the last year. And we have to stand up as trade unionists, as community activists, as anti-racists, and we have to say that we will fight this government. We will fight to bring back our services. We will fight to stop this bill, and we will join together to make sure that the exploitation and the oppression of normal people in this country comes to an end. There is a small taste of it, but I'll tell you what, those students are inspiring, and they inspire us just like the Black Lives Matter movement inspire us. British trade unions need to be full square behind every single protest to kill this bill. These are our streets, it's our country, it's our democracy. This is about us, not about the tiny 1% at the top. Kill this bill!
My name is Fred Campbell, and you see I'm quite old. I'm not daring to stand up there on the chair because I think I'm too heavy. But I just want to say I stand shoulder to shoulder with everybody here in my opposition to this bill. This bill is a mammoth bill, and it's imposing draconian restrictions on our right to protest, a right enshrined in the Human Rights Act and the European Convention on Human Rights. It can drastically impede our right to protest. The government, this Tory government, has already had 3 pieces of legislation that are wrong. One, the Covert Human Intelligence Sources Act now, that's passed into law, the CHIS Act, the act which allows undercover police to get immunity from doing all sorts of illegal actions, the Overseas Operations Bill which allows the military to escape prosecution, and now this bill. Now, Mick Gilligan spoke to us earlier about the 24. I've read a bit of this bill. I'm a retired lawyer. I tell you, it's a real mess. Quite apart from being a Canadian attempt to restrict our right to protest, there is a hell of a scope within the law, within the section, it seems to me, for legal challenge. But don't rely on that. Don't rely on that. Mick Gilligan told us it took 24 years for the Shrewsbury 24 convictions to be quashed. I was reading it took 11 years for provisions in relation to a police practice called Kathleen to go through the courts fully. So the bill is a real mess, I assure you that. It's not straightforward, it tries to be draconian, but it's a mess. It needs to be scrapped. Now I'm a long-standing member of the Labour Party, and some of you will be in the Labour Party here, and some of you will be in other parties, and some of you will be in no parties. But what I say is that we need to stand united on this. Sometimes I feel that division is the original sin of those on us who stand on the left, and we must not have division on this. We must remain united and stop this bill. The government, I think, is rocking on it. It's not going to, I think, to pass, I may be wrong on this, pass it to law before the autumn. So I think there is a period of time, and we must all stand united and protest against it. And perhaps, just perhaps, we can force a change from the streets on this. I certainly hope so. Thank you, Gary. Thanks, comrades, for coming out this afternoon. My name's George Bennett, and I'm the Trade Union Liaison Officer for Hackney North and Stoke Newington Labour Party. And I bring solidarity greetings from our Member of Parliament, Diane Abbott. As I'm sure you're aware, the Labour Party in Parliament is finally opposing this legislation. But it took the shocking images of the policing of the vigil in memory of Sarah Everard at Clapham Common to actually force Sir Keir Starmer and Labour's front bench off the fence. That is shocking and it is shameful, because the reality, for those of us who can remember the 1980s, is that the police don't need legislation of this sort to launch an all-out offensive on the trade union and labour movements. Some of us saw firsthand the reality of the policing of picket lines and mining communities during the great National Union of Mine Workers strike of 1984-1985. I personally was arrested and battered on the picket lines at Wapping during the print workers strike of 1986 and 1987. Sadly, it proved positive that the police are most surely not on the side of workers in struggle. Just a few months ago, the Tories, supposedly out of this earnest concern for public health, were keen to bar all picketing. There was successful legal action by the Unite Trade Union to actually allow pickets to gather outside a bus manufacturing complex in Yorkshire. But time and time again, you will see peaceful picket lines, and yet the police will be called at the slightest pretext, whether the COVID regulation or some alleged petty offence. Now, in terms of building a movement to resist and defeat this proposed legislation, demonstrations like today are important, because even if somehow there is a parliamentary majority mustered to kill the bill, ultimately it will take a movement on the streets and on the picket lines to resist and defeat the attempts to stifle dissent, to stifle effective protest, and to stifle effective industrial action. And hopefully, in building a movement to defeat this legislation, we can begin to build the kind of resistance that will be necessary across the labour movement, black and white, African, Caribbean, Asian and European and British, to defeat what will be an employer's offensive and a new round of austerity unless we get our act together to stop it long before there's another general election in this country. Kill the bill, solidarity.
First time I've been in a protest since a year.
Hello, my name's Andy Bain. I'm from Islington Trades Council. I bring you 2 minutes of solidarity from Islington Trades Council. The whole purpose of a Trades Council is to gather trade unions in an area, obviously this case Islington, and to show solidarity. That is what we do, and that's what I'm bringing to you, and I'm asking you to do as well. Solidarity not just with trade unions in struggle, and we need plenty of that, and we're seeing more and more conflicts as employers and government turn the screws on people. Now, during COVID, the government and the employers and the right-wing media have made every attempt to divide people, whether that be old and young, black and white, city and country, ill and not ill, rich and poor. In every way they've tried to divide people, and they're continuing with this now because they know if they're going to continue to govern the way they are doing, there's going to be social unrest, there's going to be conflict. So they need laws that are going to help them do that. This is what we're seeing at the moment. And the best thing that we can do is this sort of thing. Join protests, join solidarity organisations, join political parties, take part in fighting for your rights. At this point we've got nothing else we can do, we must do this. And just a final note to say that, one other thing I was going to say, the way trade unions organise is so important, but we're now facing a world of people working in the gig economy, and that means very often new ways of organising and also new ways of showing solidarity and being very flexible in the way we do that. So as trade unionists and as others, please show solidarity with very often young people working in the gig economy in very difficult circumstances. We need to really escalate this one. And just a final word to say that as well as this protest, there is going to be a big demonstration on the 26th of June organised by the People's Assembly, so please aim for that one. That will be a big one. Cheers. Can people respect social distancing? Can it kind of move back a bit and put your arms out? And if you're touching someone with your arms, you're too close. Anyway, take a blow bit and over behind. We'll keep you safe. Thank you, officer. Right then. Hi everyone, I'm Jem Errol from Diamond Community Centre. Thank you for providing us a platform to speak today on a very important issue. The bill will surely set a precedent to build an authoritarian rule unless there is collective action against it. We can only change such bills and anti-democratic rules if we are on the streets, making ourselves heard against those who make these rules and sway in public opinion. We must make it clear that this government is no advocate of democracy. I am from a Turkish and Kurdish community centre, and naturally we follow the political development in Turkey. We have seen government dismantle the fundamentals of democracy and what is left unchanged. It will have no shame in attacking protesters, claiming that the police force were the ones that were attacked, not allowing vigils and using violence against women to disperse crowds, silencing and physically attacking journalists. These are the scenes that we have become so accustomed to seeing in Turkey. Of course, there is no democracy in Turkey, but what we have witnessed on the streets and the statements that have been made in favour of this establishment in the UK over the past few months is very similar to what we have witnessed and continue to see so in Turkey for the past few decades. This is the reason for today. If people like us are not on the streets today, if we do not call the government to account, if we do not struggle against injustice and inequality, if we do not challenge the status quo, we will see the erosion of democracy in this country because Boris Johnson is no advocate of democracy. In fact, he finds protests and gatherings like this a nuisance to society, and if he had the public on his side, he would ban all protests. It is important to ask why the government has introduced this bill now. It is because there is more discontent against the system, the inequality between the rich and poor is growing, the pandemic has exposed the weaknesses in this system, and it is always targeted those that are the least well off. We are going to see a reoccurrence of what happened during the 2008-9 financial crash, with the worst off in society paying for the those of the rich and the 1%. charged for speaking above the decibel limit set by this bill. Those two important figures, in fact, remind us of the importance of demonstrations and popular campaigns for peace, human rights, and democracy. Without collective action, injustices would continue unchallenged and people would lose confidence in the democratic process by which injustices are changed. You may remember this quote from Tony Benn, that there are two ways in which people are controlled. First of all, frighten people, and secondly, demoralize them. Are we frightened? No! Are we demoralized? No! It's the same each time with progress. First they ignore you, then they say you are mad, then they say you are dangerous, then there is a pause. And then you can't find anyone that disagrees with you. Think of Vietnam, think of Afghanistan, Iraq, and how public opinion changed because of collective action we took, which stopped government from getting away from the atrocities that they committed. The DP is on the streets, it's our streets, and to stop the state building the foundations of a police state, we will continue to be on the streets for peace, for democracy, and to kill this bill. Thank you.
And back in 1979, I was one of the organisers of the Reclaim the Night in Leeds and in London. And I need one of those placards that I've seen so many of my sisters carrying. I can't believe I'm still protesting this shit. But we are, because we live in a society where sexism is part of the DNA of capitalism and the greed for profits. We know that 80% of women experience sexual harassment on the streets every single day. We know that 2 women are killed by partners or ex-partners every week. We know that over 850,000 women every year go to the police about rape, but only 3% ever end up in the courts. We live in a society where women's bodies are commodified, used to sell products, used to sell pornography, and we are fed up of it. And I want to really thank all the young people in particular who turned up in their thousands across Britain over the last couple of weeks, particularly to protest at the brutal murder of Sarah Everard. But there down in Clapham, when there were thousands of us, with flowers, with candles, to hold a vigil, we end up with the police when one of them is being held in jail on charge of a murder. His mates come and floor the organisers to the floor and bind their hands behind their back and take them to prison. Now, why is this happening? I'll tell you why it's happening. Because we don't protest enough. That's why it's happening. Not because our voice is heard and the government understands. They hear our voice and they don't want to hear it anymore. So I want us all pay rise. These are mostly the women who have dealt with the shit because Boris Johnson couldn't make the country safe. Women, and I want to make this clear, women have held the whole bloody project together, from every council estate to every street in Britain. And when they offer women in the health service 1%, we say no, and we will protest with you. I'm also going to be on the BLM protests on the 23rd of May to mark with respect George Floyd and to demand that the police who killed him in cold blood are jailed. So we will be on the streets with our black brothers and sisters on the 23rd of May. I will be with the People's Assembly March in its thousands, demanding a fairer Britain. And I will also be with XR and the climate protests in November, when the big bosses of all the countries across the world are going to come to Great Britain and they're going to pretend, they are going to lie to us that the world is greener now, and they are trying to cure it, the problem. We know they can't, we know they won't, and that's why our right to protest is sacrosanct. There's no democracy if you can't raise your voice. And I'm glad, I hope, some good people in Parliament support us. But I don't bloody care, because all the big victories for our side, whether it's the suffragettes, whether it's the black civil rights march campaigns, all of the big changes, the best changes in our society have taken place when ordinary people like us rise up together, join in solidarity and say, it's not just, these are not just our streets, of course they are, but we want the whole bloody cake, and we're fed up of these people who use race, use gender to divide and separate us. On this bill, we are united. We are going to kill it dead.
BLM members and others in Cardiff and in other parts of Wales. It's a deliberate campaign of harassment, a deliberate campaign against the people who've been organising the protest. I'm not trying to scare people, but we really are up against the government that is getting more repressive. A government that wants to stamp out our right to protest. That's why I hope to see everybody here on the protest tomorrow. If you can and you're not shielding, well, you wouldn't be here if you're shielding, I guess. So I hope to see you all at Speaker's Corner tomorrow. And as Jen pointed out, all the other protests are up and coming. And let's remember Sarah Everard. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. Say her name. And justice for Sarah means that cop has to go down for a very long time. But more than that, it means that the police are institutionally misogynist have to change. They have to be forced to change. That means there needs to be targets for sorting out domestic violence. That means when a woman says she's being stalked, they do something about it. That means when a woman is raped, the man goes to prison. All of these things are measurable, as they say in management speak. And we demand that the police end their institutional sexism and racism. Whose street? Our street! 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 See everybody on the protest tomorrow and all the other protests to come. And for the big revolution that's coming this summer. It's going to be a summer to remember. And we're going to make sure this government remembers.
It looks like it's all over, guys. Thanks all for joining. Reasonably peaceful. Anyways, Jamie. Right, cheers everyone for joining. I'm going to end it there. Looks like that's all finished. Until the next one. Thanks all for joining. Don't forget to sub. Thank you, Jenny, Basil, Jamie, everyone else. I'll catch you all soon.